Hello, Alexandra. How are you today?
Hi, I'm fine, thank you. And you?
Very good, very good. So where are you? What beach are you at in that picture?
That's Waikiki Beach, which is in Hawaii.
Awesome, awesome. When did you travel to Hawaii? Or do you live
Last,
there?
last month. No, I don't live there. I wish I lived there, but no, I don't.
Where do you live?
I'm from Russia.
Okay, awesome. Well, that was a long trip then. How long did it
Uh,
take to fly?
I don't know how much it takes to fly from Russia because I was flying from New York. So
Oh,
from New York to Honolulu, it takes 10 hours plus some minutes.
oh
So
wow.
about 10 hours, yeah.
Yeah, okay. And then it's quite a long way between Russia and New York as well. So where in Russia do you live? Excuse me.
In the north.
Uh-huh. Okay. Is it Minsk or
No, Minsk is in Belarus.
okay. Okay.
Minsk is the capital of Belarus, and I'm in Russia.
Okay. Yeah, I just know all of it as Russia. So
Oh, that's fine.
yeah, I haven't been to Russia yet, so that's my excuse. So
Yeah.
yeah, well let me show you my picture real quick. This is me and my dog, and
Uh-huh.
we actually lived in Finland, and that's where I got him. He was actually born in Hungary, and then as a puppy he moved to Finland, and I got him when he was 3 years old, and so he had to learn English after me. So, and and when I get mad at him, I still speak to him in Finnish. And
He's a bilingual
yeah,
dog.
that's the joke. He's a passive bilingual dog because
Yeah.
um, he can't actually speak, so he can only a passive bilingual means you understand, but you can't produce.
Mhm.
So so he might be trilingual, who knows? But so hi Claudio, how are you today?
Oh, hi, Holly. I'm doing well.
Good. And where are you living right now?
I'm living Rio de Janeiro, here in Brazil.
Okay.
Brazil.
And are you Brazilian? Are you from
Yes,
Brazil?
yes,
Okay.
I'm Brazilian. I'm from
Okay.
Brazil.
Awesome. And
I'm glad to be
Abdullah,
here.
oh, I'm happy that you're here too. I'm very happy to. This is. I think this is my fourth day teaching at Verbling, and I'm having a ball. I'm having a great time. So,
Oh, cool.
Abdullah, where are you from?
Hello, I am from Saudi Arabia.
Hi, welcome from Saudi Arabia. And is that a Arabian horse on your picture?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Is,
it is a Arabian horse. Yes.
is it your horse or is it just a random horse you
No,
found?
no, no. It is just a picture I take from net.
Okay, so random. Yeah, and then Claudio, do you like science fiction or what the picture you have, is that just a random picture or is there something significant about it?
Oh, yes, it can be matched to science fiction, but not exactly. It's a quasar. That's a quasar.
What's a
Like
quasar?
it's a spatial object.
Oh,
Like
okay.
it's a kind of opposite of black hole.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I only know about science fiction from movies and TV, so I don't know very much.
No, it's related to astronomy.
Astronomy. Is it fiction or is it a real thing?
Real thing.
It's a
Real
real thing.
thing.
Are you a
Yeah.
sci are you an astronomer?
No, no, I'm just a curious.
Okay. Okay, awesome. Okay, well, welcome. So this, as you guys saw, this is an advanced level lesson on vocabulary, and the vocabulary is types of people. And when I show you the list, uh, don't start to get worried, okay? because I've done this activity for many years with many students, and it can be actually quite fun and very informative. But quickly, real quick, just simply because you guys are all new to me, let me quickly introduce myself. I'm actually from Idaho, in the USA, and Idaho is in the mountain region or the Pacific Northwest region. So it's up in the northwest part of the US. We're just south of Canada and north of Utah, and east of Oregon and Washington, and west of Montana and Wyoming. So Idaho has very few people. We have 3 million in the entire state, about 500,000 in my local area, and I live in a town of only 850 people. And it's a very rural farming community. I moved here to this area about 5 years ago in order to be closer to family again, because my mom is not getting young. She's getting old, and so that's why I came here. And then before I moved to back to the States, I lived in Finland for 11 years, and I lived in South Korea for 2 years. And between South Korea and Finland, I got my master's degree in teaching English. And so that's just a little bit about me. And as I was showing Alexandra, I was showing her a picture of my dog. This is kind of my pride and joy, because he was born in Hungary, he was raised in Finland, and now the last 5 years he's been in the U.S. So I say he's retiring in the U.S. So this is where he will die. But we were joking that he's a bilingual dog, because when he first moved in with me, he did not know English, so I had to speak Finnish to him. I had to learn a lot of Finnish words in order to do it. So anyway, that's a little bit about me. Okay, and let's go ahead and get started on this activity. Like I said, don't panic when you see the words. Okay, so here are the words. Do you are there a few words that you guys know?
Yes.
Good, good. All right. What I'm going to do, you guys can mute yourself if you want. The first thing I want to do is I want to go over pronunciation of these words. So I'm going to pronounce them, and you guys can repeat after me muted. That way nobody can hear you if you want, or you don't have to. The first word is accomplice. The second word is adjudicator. The third word is arbitrator. And then beneficiary. And then castaway. Conscript. Expatriate. And this word expatriate, many times we will shorten that and we will use the word expat. Okay. This last word on the first column is hermit. Okay. Now in the next column we have hooligan, and then invigilator. Invigilator. This for me was a new word for me because it's mostly used in British English. So when I first started using this exercise about 10 years ago, I was like, what is that word? Midwife, patriot, picket, sibling, spouse, teetotaler. Teetotaler. Okay. And just to let you know, when we get to this word, this is also a British English word and is not used in American English. So if I don't remember to tell you, please ask me what we would actually say in American English. And the same for this word, invigilator. what would we use as Americans in this saying? Okay, so you guys can unmute now if you'd like. And first of all, what are the words that you are familiar with? Alexander, you said you recognize some of the words. What are those? What are the words?
Beneficiary.
Okay.
Sibling. Spouse.
Okay.
Hooligan. Patriot, of course.
Okay. Sibling.
Spouse. Yeah.
Hooligan.
Patriot.
Okay. Patriot.
Patriot.
Okay. And any more?
I thought I knew accomplice, but I think I mixed it with accomplish. So no, I don't.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of possible. So
and Castaway. Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Castaway. Most people know this word from Tom Hanks' movie called Castaway. Do you guys remember that movie? About 10 years ago?
No.
No? Okay. It's a good movie. It's not Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks.
Yes, it is a good movie.
Yeah. It's called Castaway. And you know, Tom Hanks does such a great job when he acts. So, Claudio, were there any other words that you recognized?
No, okay, Holly. I recognize arbitrator and expatriated, beneficiary, hooligan, and patriot.
Okay, bear with me a moment. Okay, I'm looking. Okay, so you recognize. Okay, expatriate. Did you?
Castaway, and spouse. I don't know what it means.
Okay, so you said arbitrator. You recognized. Okay. Well, this might be an easier than I thought it would be. Okay. Did you say you recognize hermit?
No,
Okay.
I don't recognize.
And spouse, picket. Okay. Any other words? And then Abdullah, which word do you recognize? Any words that are that I have not highlighted?
Castaway.
Castaway,
And midwife.
Okay.
And bucket.
Picket.
Oh, bucket, yes.
Picket, okay.
Okay.
Okay, those are awesome. So actually, you guys actually know a lot of words. This is going to be very good. Let me go ahead and talk to you really quick about the words that we have you guys have not identified that you know, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the definitions, and you guys will tell me which word goes with the definition. And then after that, what we're going to do is discuss a lot of these words and how they're used, or just even talk about like, for example, are midwives used in your country, for example. Okay, so the first word, accomplice. Accomplice is usually used when you're talking about criminal behavior. And an accomplice is a person who helps someone else commit a crime. So a bank robber will have somebody who drives the car. So the driver is the accomplice. Or a person who escapes prison, and the person who helps them escape is the accomplice. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Was that what you thought it was?
Yes, completely.
Was that what you thought it was, Alexandra?
I'm sorry?
When you looked at it earlier, did you know what it was, or?
No. I thought accomplish, not accomplish.
Oh, okay. And the next word is adjudicator. And adjudicator is another word for a judge. So if a judge adjudicates, we usually use the word judge. That is the most common word that we use. Sometimes you will see in academic papers or more sophisticated newspapers and things like that. Like, for example, the Economist magazine would probably use adjudicator and not judge. So, okay. Hermit. Do you guys, to me, the best example for hermit is the movie Shrek. Have you guys all seen the Disney movie Shrek?
Mm-hmm.
Claudio and Abdullah, have you seen that movie?
Yes,
Shrek.
I have.
Okay.
Yes, I have. Hermit is that guy? Is that such guy like Shrek?
Well, Shrek is I can't remember what he is, but a hermit is a type of person like him who wants to be left alone.
Okay.
They usually live up in the mountains, and do you guys remember back probably about 15 years ago, hearing any news about we had in the States we had a person we called the Unabomber? Do you guys remember hearing about that?
No.
Basically, what was happening for about 10 years. Periodically, a CEO in a company would get a package, and in the package was a bomb. And
yes.
Yeah, and so people were starting to get really scared, and it started to become a little bit more common. Well, I think it was in the early 2000s, my dad was running a hotel in Montana. And it turned out that he didn't know it, but one of the men that was staying at the hotel ran in and said, we got him. And my dad was like, what? It turned out that he had a bunch of FBI agents staying in the hotel, and they had just caught the Unabomber. And the Unabomber was living in a cabin in the middle of Montana, in the woods, and he had no electricity, no water, no running water. It was just a basic cabin in the middle of nowhere in Montana, and so he lived a hermit lifestyle. Does that make sense?
Yeah. He live isolated at the mountain.
Yeah,
hermit.
Exactly, by himself, and he was
man. It could be as well a old man, not just a dangerous guy, but a older, little bit freak.
Yeah, it could be a peace lover too. but the example was a Unabomber, but could be somebody who just decided he didn't want to deal with technology. So, or somebody who wants to live off the grid. Do you guys know that off the grid?
Yes.
Alexandra, Claudio, or Abdullah?
After the grid?
Off the grid. To live off the grid.
Oh, okay.
Live off the grid means to be away from technology. So you can, like most of us can be found because of our cell phones, or cell phones or mobile phones, or like right now if our governments were looking into us personally, they would all know that we are in a Google Hangout. so that they could find us because we are on the grid, because we're all using internet, we're all using technology. But off the grid is no technology.
And it's usually done intentionally.
Yes.
Like I don't want to use it, and that's why I'm off the grid, yeah?
Exactly. Exactly.
Not because I can't afford to buy anything.
Exactly. So if somebody is living off the grid because they can't, they're living off the grid, but it's because they can't afford it. But usually it's people that can't, they choose to be off the grid because they don't trust something or whatever. So okay.
And about hermit, so it both can be an adjective and a noun?
Yes. So I think most of these words are adjectives. Some of them are nouns. But he is a hermit. He lives a hermit lifestyle. Yes. So they can both be an adjective and a noun. Exactly. Okay. The next word, invigilator. This one was new to me when I started doing this activity, and I learned that in American English, for invigilator, we actually use the word proctor. Does anybody know what that is? I'm typing it in.
Proctor?
Proctor.
I don't know what it means.
Okay, so when you're at university and you're taking an exam, normally, at least in my experience, unless you're at a very small program, the professor does not stay in the room. He has a proctor or an invigilator stay in the room and watch everybody take the test.
Like a substitute?
Yeah, kind of, but what their role is to like, for example, in American English we say like I was a teacher's aide when I was a senior in college, and the professor said to me, "Holly, will you proctor this economics exam?" So it's kind of like a substitute, but what I did is I went in, gave the students the test, sat there, and when they were done, they gave it to me. So, and so that's what an invigilator does. They basically they make sure that people take tests. They proctor the exam. So, in American English, proctor is a verb and a noun.
Okay. So proctor must not the proctor be a teacher in this case?
It could be a teacher. It says sometimes professors might proctor their own exams. So, but most of the time, an invigilator is like a teaching assistant.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I got it.
Because the professor doesn't really want to do that. But then you have, of course, state exams. You have a lot of exams. For example, the TOEFL, the IELTS, those exams. When people take those exams, or even the TOEIC, somebody is the invigilator, or they are they are proctoring the exam. So that's what that is. Okay. The last one, teetotaler. Okay, this is British English. I actually knew what it meant, but I also know that in American English, we don't use this word very often. In American English, we actually use a verb, and the verb is to abstain. And basically, this has to do with alcohol. For example, I was raised in a family where my grandparents on my father's side and my parents have never drank alcohol in their entire life. We would have wine glasses and have milk in it when we were kids, and it's just the way of life. It was because of their personal convictions, and so in a British English, they would be called teetotalers. So teetotalers are people who do not drink alcohol, or they abstain from alcohol. Does that make sense?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So what I'm going to do now.
Holly, I'm sorry. What's
Yeah.
the difference between to abstain and to refrain?
There is no difference.
Ah.
So abstain. I mean, usually, actually, there is a difference. I just thought of this. To abstain, usually, you can use it. You can use it they are very similar, but like in this respect, you can't refrain from alcohol because refrain has to do more with speaking. I'm going to refrain from saying what I'm thinking, or something like that. But to abstain actually means to not do an action. But you can, but say for example, in law, in the law field, abstain is used to not say anything as well. So in general English, we only use to abstain when it comes to I abstain from alcohol, or right now I stopped I stopped using what do you call it right now I have stopped. It's been about 2 weeks now that I have stopped drinking any soda pop or soft drinks, and so now I am abstaining from soda pop. So that's where it's when you refrain from something. Usually you refrain from saying anything.
Mm-hmm.
So that's usually what it is. Good questions. Anybody else have any questions about this list? Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the definitions of all these words, and now that what I'd like you guys to do is tell me when I read it, tell me which word this is. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So number 1. And so this is a little bit of listening too. So this is someone who supervises people taking an examination. He or she makes sure they don't cheat. What is that one?
Invigilator.
Invigilator. Perfect. Perfect. And I am going to make it red when we get it right. Okay. Next one. Number 2. This is a single word for husband or wife.
Spouse.
Yes. Spouse. Okay. Next one. This is someone who has deliberately withdrawn from society and lives completely alone.
Hermit.
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 Perfect. Hermit. Okay. Number 4. This is someone who helps another person commit a crime.
Accomplice.
Accomplice, yes. See, you guys are learning new words today. Yay! So, this is someone who, during a strike, is placed outside a factory by his or her trade union to try to prevent other workers from going in until the strike is over.
Picket.
Arbitrator.
It's actually a picket.
Picket.
The arbitrator usually does help during a strike, but they're usually negotiating between the picketers and the company. Okay.
What means picket? Sorry, how I lost
okay.
the meaning.
The picket are the people who are striking.
Who was put out of the company.
Yeah, well, they're people who are striking.
Well, for striking.
It's for the verb to strike. And they are picketing outside the company because they are asking for maybe better wages or better circumstances.
Oh, okay. Okay, so it's like a demonstration.
Yeah, but they're what happens? They're part of the union, and the union will try to negotiate the contract. And if the negotiation does not go well, the union will say, okay, we are on strike. And then what happens is people do not go to work. They go in front of the factory or in front of the company, and they carry signs, and they're picketing.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
it,
this verb is picket too as well.
yeah,
Like
there's a verb to strike. There's a verb to picket.
it makes sense like this phrase and they picked in front of the factory.
Exactly. And in American English, this is actually, these are British English vocabulary, so it's kind of funny that I'm an American teaching British English. But picket is British English, and they call the people picket, but we call them actually strikers. So,
They
So
strike in front of the factory.
they're
yeah,
synonyms.
yeah.
So
Okay,
striking or
sorry.
picketing.
Striking and picketing are the same.
Yeah, and what about the noun itself? Picket, people. So it's a collective noun.
Mm-hmm. That's
So
mm-hmm. That's from my understanding. Yep.
And Holly, what the
we
name
cannot
of the
say
people who? Oh, sorry.
Okay, you can go. Whoever.
What the name of the people who was picketing, who was
What is
striking?
what is the name of the people who are picketing?
Yes, the name of the
Could,
group.
well, really depends on the country. Some people say they're union members. Other people, it's their strikers. They're
Strikers.
they could be pickets. Which is British English, and I feel very weird with that because I've never actually heard it very much. I hear strikers a lot. You also the difference between striking and picketing is it's a fine line. Picketing is when you're carrying the signs in front of the company, and the union usually pays you to do that. But you could be striking, like on my first job, I worked after university. I worked for a telephone company, and they were very close to striking. And I would not have gone. I would not have gone to work. I would have stayed away, but I would not have picketed. So I would have been striking, but I would not have been picketing. So I just would have stayed at home, or I would have found another job or something like that. So there is a slight difference between picketers and strikers. So
Holly,
yes,
can we use picket? I mean, when we talk about people, can I use picket in plural?
yeah. Yes, you can in British English.
And in American?
American English, we would say strikers.
Better to stick to strikers.
That's what I prefer, but I'm American. I can't help it. So, yeah. Okay, so the next word we have here, this is someone who is called in to settle a dispute between two people or groups, usually at the request of both sides. For example, during a strike, or during a divorce, or any kind of legal situation.
Oh, now I think that arbitrator.
Yes. So an arbitrator is someone who comes in, and they are a what we say a neutral party.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So the next word is this is someone who has been shipwrecked.
Castaway.
Castaway, yeah. And that's exact. Well, Well, Tom Hanks in his movie, he was not shipwrecked. He was a survivor of a tragic airplane accident. So
Shipwrecked.
shipwrecked.
Wrecked.
Wrecked.
Could you type Holly, please, this word,
Yeah.
this last
Yes.
word?
I sure will. Shipwrecked.
So Castaway is not necessarily connected to ships. It can be an airplane crash.
Well, in that movie, it was in an airplane, but it's usually connected to ships.
Like Robinson Crusoe.
Like Robinson Crusoe, he's the most popular shipwrecked. So if you're shipwrecked, you of course what's that? It's the movie, but what's that infamous ship that went into the icebergs?
Titanic.
Titanic, yeah. The Titanic was shipwrecked. So, but it didn't.
Shipwrecked can be a verb.
Yes.
Can be used like a verb.
Mm-hmm.
And the Titanic shipwrecked.
Yeah, but actually the Titanic sank from the verb to sink, but it started out by shipwrecking, or well, I guess no. I'm sorry, I'm thinking aloud. Shipwrecked would mean the boat is no longer functional, but it survives. It doesn't actually sink. I don't know. I'd have to look into that a little bit more. I'm sorry, I'm talking about things I don't know. So,
but Titanic finally sank.
The Titanic finally sank. There was a shipwreck, more or less, and then it sank. It wrecked into the iceberg. For example, a car accident is also. You can also say it was a car wreck.
Okay.
So.
I got it.
Yeah. Good. Excellent. All right. Let's go back to my paper, and next one is. This is someone who never drinks. No, wait. I skipped it. This is someone who loves his or her country and feels very loyal towards it.
Expatriated.
Nope, there's another word.
Patriot. Sorry, patriot.
Patriot, yes.
There's a good movie with Mel Gibson. I think it's called Patriot.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. Is it good?
Well, all movies with Gibson are good.
Yeah, that's true. I guess I haven't seen one where he isn't good, but so okay, and that's like Tom Hanks. You know Tom Hanks movies are going to be good.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. Next one. This is someone who is appointed to act as a judge in a competition, or a judge anywhere.
Educator.
Adjudicator.
Adjudicator.
Adjudicator. Okay.
So it's a judge.
It's a judge. Yep.
And could I say the adjudicator of football, of soccer, for instance? It makes sense. Or just for in tribunals like that?
Well, I would say it's a little bit more formal to do that. So there's a verb. It's to adjudicate.
To
Adjudicate. And that's the verb. But for soccer, we actually use the word referee.
Referee.
Referee. Yeah,
Okay.
referee. And and then oh man, I'm thinking most of it seems that the games like soccer, and then American football and rugby. What is the other one? Basketball. It seems like the games where the people move up and down like a court or a field, and the referee runs with them. They're called referees. But say in tennis, a tennis match, you could say it might be adjudicated, but usually an adjudicator is judging a more of a maybe a quiz meet.
Okay.
Or something like that. So.
So it's not a legal term.
It can be. It can be used as a legal term as well. I've seen it a little bit, but normally everybody uses the word judge.
Mm-hmm.
So you can. It's important to know what it is. I would say not to try to use it until you're really sure or you've seen it used. But it's normally it's not as used as much as the word judge because everybody knows what judge is, and people will try to make their language simple. So, okay. All right, the next one. This is someone who is made to serve in a country's army, navy, or air force, whether he or she wants to or not.
Tutor?
No.
Conscript.
Conscript, yes. And this actually can be used as a noun or as a verb. So he was conscripted. He was conscripted into the Air Force.
In the middle of the war, sometimes a lot of guys are conscripted to the army.
Exactly, but it's actually quite well. It depends. In say for example in the U.S. and the U.K., our armies are voluntary, and so there are very few people that are conscripted. I think the last time we actually had anybody conscripted was in the Vietnam era. But we use mandatory. So some countries actually, the countries that have mandatory military for their young men or young women, they're conscripted. There's another word, and I cannot think of it right now. Conscript, because conscript is British English. Drafted. In American English, we use the word draft. So we haven't had a draft in the U.S. since the Vietnam days.
And how do we call the people who are drafted?
They would be called draftees.
Draftees.
Draftees. T there sounds like a D, so it's draftees.
Draftees.
Yeah.
So it's a draft.
Mm-hmm.
The verb is to draft, and the person draftee.
Yeah, but it's not. It's all American men have to register for the draft when they turn 18.
The same is in Russia.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But we don't. Not only. I mean, they not only have to register, but they are actually conscripted.
Mm-hmm. Finland's the same way, and so is Korea. So, and then I think U.S. and U.K. I think are the only ones that don't have conscription. I don't know. Are there? How about your countries? In Saudi Arabia, does everyone serve in the military? Abdullah? And Claudia, I can't remember where you're from again.
I'm from Brazil.
Brazil. Okay. Does everybody serve in the military in Brazil?
Yes, we used to serve the military service when we was 18 years old, but it's not obligated. You can serve if you want to serve.
Okay, so it's a voluntary.
It's a
So
volunteer work,
okay.
yes. But at the past, in our past, it was abrogated.
Okay.
We was conscripted,
Okay.
conscripted,
Okay.
drafted.
So you were drafted or you were conscripted. So it really depends on the era or the generation that you're from. So nowadays it's voluntary, but in the past it was it was mandatory. So.
Yeah. Yes, because here in Brazil we are not so traditional. Our army and our air force are not so traditional. We don't have a lot of wars in our history, so it's not
I'm,
common to
man,
conscript and this kind of thing.
I wish my country would be the same, but unfortunately they're able to get get guys without conscripting, or I mean, or I guess it's good, but I just wish anyway. Let's get off that subject. So let's go on to the next one. This is someone who never drinks alcohol.
Teetotaler.
Teetotaler, yes.
Teetotaler.
Teetotaler, yeah. It's and like I said earlier, it's kind of a weird word for me. So because we just use a verb. Yes.
Holly, I have a question. This word reminds me another word which has nothing to do with this meaning, but I'd like to remember is a word to describe someone who used to tell to another people if I did something wrong, that someone will tell to my
Oh,
mom,
yes.
my teacher.
Okay.
What the name?
That is hi Anna. That is a tattletale.
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 Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yes,
and that's
tattletale.
yeah. So the kids, younger sisters, for example, tattletale on their older brothers, because I was a younger sister and I thought it was fun, to see my brothers get in trouble. So.
Yeah, okay. And when I was I can be I'm not this kind of tattleteller. That's it, tattleteller.
Yeah,
If
well,
I used to tattletale a lot of people all the time.
yeah, well, we wouldn't say tattleteller. You would say she is a tattletale. And
She's a tattletale.
yeah,
Okay.
she is a tattletale.
What does that mean, tattletale?
Okay, can you explain it, Claudio? It's
Okay,
too tattletale.
I'm gonna try to explain. It's
Okay,
a
then
little
I'll
bit difficult.
help you.
When among children, Alexandra, this word is very common here in Brazil. The matched word, like if some children made something wrong, and another children can call the teacher and tell to the teacher who did this thing wrong. You know, like and I was cheating at the test, and my friend and called the teacher and say, "Oh, this guy was cheat the test." So
Like
she
a
or he
whistleblower.
tell me.
It's basically to tell on someone. That's a phrasal verb.
Can we call it a whistleblower?
Yes. Usually a whistleblower has more to do. It's basically the same thing, but a whistleblower would be somebody who sees corruption in the government or in corporations, and they tell the media. Where a tattletale is usually a younger sibling, and they tell their parents. Yeah, and then they sit there and if their parents aren't realizing it, they sit there and watch their older brother or sister get in trouble, and they have all kinds of fun with that too. So yeah, so it was a very good explanation, Claudio. It basically, instead of make something wrong, it's when somebody does something wrong, or to do something wrong. That would be the only suggestion. But you explained it quite well. Very good.
Okay.
Okay. Let's go to the next definition. Another definition. A definition is, this is a person who is entitled to receive money or property from a will or insurance policy.
Beneficiary.
Yes, a beneficiary. And so that's what a person who inherits money. So they could be an heir or an heiress. An heir is a man, and is a woman, and they receive money from their parents. And usually, an heir or an heiress are they're the rich people. So, okay. Next word is, this is somebody who is living in a foreign country.
Expatriate.
Expatriate, exactly. And what do people usually say instead of expatriate?
Expat.
Expat. Yeah. So we'll like say, for example, well, the expat. What is the expat community like in Brazil?
Here in Brazil, expat community.
Yeah. Are you familiar with it?
And a kind of a foreigners community.
Yeah.
And we have Japanese here, a lot of Japanese, Portuguese, Spanish, Italians, France. we have people, a lot of people around the world.
Well, you have everybody. I had a student one time. I taught him for about 5 years, and he was going to Spain every year for a holiday. And then one day he goes, I'm going to go somewhere else. So he went to Rio de Janeiro, and he said it was awesome. He loved it. So, So we've got 3 more words. We've got hooligan, midwife, and sibling, and we just have a little bit more time left, so let's see if we can get through this. This is a noisy, rough person, usually young, who causes damage or disturbances in public places. For example, at hooligan. For football games in Manchester United. So, okay. The next one. This is a person who has been specially trained to advise pregnant women and to assist them when giving birth.
Midwife?
Yes. So a midwife is somebody who usually might actually even go to the person's home, and the children are able to have or the family are able to have a home birth because of the midwife. And they usually are in close contact with doctors in case something goes wrong and they have to get the mother to the hospital very quickly. So, okay. Do they have midwives in Russia?
I didn't actually understand the meaning. So
okay.
What do they do?
They're just ladies who have been trained to help other ladies give birth at home.
Give birth at home?
Mhm. So that the women
they are present at this time. So when it happens.
Yep. Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah. So they don't have to call the doctor.
No, I don't think we have.
Do they have them in Brazil?
Yes, we have. It depends on the region, and the poorness region is more common. Is commoner to see midwives there.
Yeah, in the States, it's become actually quite popular because the hospitals are so expensive, and so if families want to, they choose to have their babies at home, and it can be a lot cheaper. So.
Nowadays here in
Brazil.
Oh, sorry, Hardy. I just would say that nowadays here in Brazil we have rich people have done the birthday day into the swimming pool, so the midwife modern. It's very common.
Yeah, that's I've heard that too. Yeah, or get a little a baby's pool or something like that. Okay, the last one. This is a single word for brother or sister. So of course, sibling. So how many siblings do you have, Claudio?
Oh, I have 3 siblings.
Okay.
2 girls and 1 guy.
Okay, and how many siblings do you have, Alexandra?
1.
1? Boy or girl?
A younger sister.
Younger sister, okay. And I have 4 siblings. I have 3 older brothers and 1 twin sister. So, all right. And it looks like we're out of time.
How do we call those people? I mean, midwife is for people who stay at home. And if that happens in the hospital, isn't it the same, midwife?
Not necessarily. It really depends. Some hospitals will have midwives work with them, but some hospitals just have a doctor, in OBGYN. So an OBGYN is a doctor who works with pregnant women. So, but I think it might depend on the country. So possibly why you're confused, Alexandra, is maybe in Russia they have midwives that actually work at the hospital.
Yes.
Yeah, where in Brazil and the U.S. midwives, there are some midwives at hospitals, but not very often. So it's more of a cheaper or an opportunity just to stay away from the hospital. So, all right, well, I have another class, so I have to stop this. I hope you guys learned something and that this was a beneficial hour for you. And I hope to see you again at another time. And thank you very much for coming and participating.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you, Alessandra. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.